Hello, welcome back. This na you fit don miss this one sef for skill network. How you fit build on top scale network without limit. Wey be say nothing dey stop you. You fit do everything on top scale network. Wey be say your mind go settle, your mind go dey coolele. So as blockchain technology dey, the level wey e dey now, e no dey the micro level again. E don go to the macro level wey be say e don introduce plenty ideas and products. And as e dey, e don also change the way wey many people dey think about finance, about money, ownership of asset wey be say wey dey digital. E don even enable different countries make dem change the way wey dem dey implement their national currency and how dem dey store their value. But developers wey dey for developers breathing and how dem dey build everyday, blockchain don come with some number of difficult and some annoying limitation wey dey require sacrifices, wey dey require you to dey make sacrifices in different places when you dey build your product. Few of dis common limitation wey dey stop developers when dem dey try build. One of dem na gas fee. No matter how dis gas fee low, dem go still pile up to something. Data restrictions. For example, the size of transactions and transactions wey dey get limit, and interconnectivity to other ecosystem. Due to the centralized nature of dis limitation, e fit cause some very noticeable negative result into the final product wey dem dey build. So as you dey see, dis update go tell you how scale take dey enable developers to build without all dis small and common limit wey be say e fit happen by exploring the typical blockchain limitation, and also for new and common solution wey scale bring to solve dis problems. Common blockchain limitation. The first one na gas fee. As everybody know, for Ethereum network, gas fee dey. For BNB, gas fee dey. For so many other blockchain sef, gas fee dey wey people dey pay. Gas fee come be like one of the common thing for most blockchain. Gas fee dey exist for blockchain to incentivize miners and validators wey go make dem process transaction and propose new blocks. But as gas fee dey create immediate friction, and e no dey commonly, you no fit see am for most traditional application wey be like social media, email, and even many games. So dis one come be one of the largest barrier for users if dem wan enter web3 space. E get some things wey be say we no dey pay at ten tion to, wey we dey overlook. Na im be the limit wey dis gas fee dey cause for developer. For example, when person wan build on top one network where their gas fee na like 10 cents, the developers fit choose the limit, the amount of transaction wey be say their application fit make for the blockchain due to the constant gas fee wey dey associated to the user. If a user dey pay transaction fee each time wey e dey enter game, or each time wey dem dey post for social platform, you know say the money wey dem go dey pay e go dey on the high. Make we add say the gas token, e must we must pay at ten tion to and must take am into account when we dey onboard users. The players for blockchain game, dey of ten no dey fit play their game. Dem no fit just click play, because first dem must go into centralized exchange wey be CEX or fiat on ramp to purchase the gas token wey dem wan take dey pay gas fee with either their credit card or their bank account before dem go fit play this game. All dis thing dey contrast with many of the most successful platform and application wey be say dem don ever build. If we dey look dis matter from the technical place, most blockchain dem dey public and dem dey accessible to anybody wey get wallet and wey get gas token. Smart contract, whether dem dey solid or otherwise, dem dey use logic to enable contract owners or account make dem get administrative functions. Dis functionality e dey common when you dey add users to whitelist for certain functionality. You fit mint token for off chain action, or you fit dey update game asset. The more the state dey change on top the chain, the more expensive dis operations dey get. Developers dey choose to do less on chain stuff to reduce the money wey users dey pay long term. We come dey see dis one, e dey common with games wey be say dem only choose to do a single NFT contract and dem no dey add any additional state or access on top chain. SKALE come build to solve dis gas fee problem with im unique architecture wey dey enable full support for the solidity language. As you dey utilize gas token, SKALE fuel wey be S fuel, e dey as security measure only. S fuel no get any economic value and e dey provided to different SKALE chain owners to distribute to their users and other developers as dem need am small small to dey do transaction. For SKALE, users no need to purchase any asset in order to begin interaction with the application. All the users also, dem no need to worry about spending hundred or thousands of dollars on top gas fee, because gas no get value. Dem no need to pay any dollars on top gas fee because the gas no get value to wetin dem dey do. SKALE dey 100% free for base layer, while developers dem fit optionally add transaction fee for certain action if dey choose say dem wan do am. Zero gas fee dey open up doors for developers to dey push more to the chain themselves and to store more on chain, to store more things on the chain generally. If you see gaming project wey dey get leaderboard, dem dey manage through a centralized database and server. The zero gas fee model mean say dem fit push the leaderboard go 100% on the chain immediately and use other contracts to manage updating the values, and dem fit also choose to use hybrid approach where dem fit use a centralized server and associate action to update the state wey dey enable public ecosystem to their user. The gas fee dey limited, no be only just on scale. So if you see dis picture you go see sey dem talk say scale fees cost structure versus other blockchain. Now another limitation wey dey for web3 space na data restriction and scaling limitation. Gas fee dey limit developers, so but restriction on wetin data fit actually be on chain. If you dey look at blockchain from a more general view, you go see sey you fit consider am as alternative to a database and server combination. E fit no right make solution e fit no right make we replace both of dis with solution, but if we get in-game token wey we dey store in a database, we fit solve dat one by using ERC20 token on chain and customizing to meet the need of dis game. So data limitation sef dey. The how scale take dey solve dis one na be sey scale dey put together multiple solution wey come standard at the chain and network level wey get standard. The first na with much larger block gas limit at the chain level of dis amount 268435455. Dis one wey be like 794% increase. E dey offer developers the opportunity to think in a more traditional sense and to put more and more data and action on chain. Service flexibility. Dis one sef na one of the limitations wey dey stop people from building, but on top scale network, for scale you fit adding NFT dey very simple, na very simple process. You fit deploy NFT contract on scale calypso NFT hub. You fit add background signers using the relevant SDK to your application, and you fit store dem locally on the client. Drip S-Fuel, you fit drop am into your user wallet as dem take need am, and optionally you fit allow dem to connect another wallet to transfer asset out. The file and graphic e fit dey stored either directly within the smart contract or you fit store dem on the chain or on the chain file storage native to the scale chain wey dem dey. The next one na solutions to blockchain issues. As blockchain continue to dey mature and dem dey use am more creatively, different solution don dey wey people don propose to solve many of the common issues wey developers on scale no need to dey worry about. The newest proposed solution e dey look to reduce the complexity wey dey with onboarding users, wey be by enabling paymaster to cover the cost of transaction. Dis could be, you fit look dis like say dem dey subsidize gas fee to make blockchain operate more like traditional web 2 application wey be say dem no go dey pay gas fee. When you dey build on scale, the limitation wey developers dey face, dem don naturally solve am since day one on scale network. You fit learn more about dis talk for account abstraction versus scale for SKALE blog, wey be article wey dem write. If you wan start to dey build on top scale, another interesting problem wey developers dey find themselves wey dem dey deal with na accessing external data source on chain. Dis one fit dey pull the price data from centralized exchange or pull ownership data for NFT from Ethereum mainnet. Dis one dey usually require solution wey we dey call oracle. Oracle dem dey come in different forms and products. Dem dey enable developers to access external data on chain. However, dis dey also come at a price wey dem go pay, and e dey require make dem trust another network entirely. Scale get oracle wey dey natively built into each and every scale chain, and dem dey use security of the network consensus to handle access data on other EVM blockchain or external data source. You wan begin build on scale? Blockchain technology dey incredible, and every project wey dey innovate and dey provide developers new tools to solve problems. The scale architecture e be one of a kind solution wey be say e dey enable developers to build in web 3 or make dem migrate at their own pace without worrying say any limitations dey for blockchain. If you wan build for blockchain, as people dey build on blockchain, e don make us see different amazing projects wey dem don introduce. Building for scale network e get po ten tial to bring not just amazing technology but mass adoption wey dey hold to the ideas wey you fit finally build on blockchain without limit. If you wan get in touch with scale network, you fit send your email to community@scalelabs.com. You fit also come here come read everything wey scale talk about how you fit build without limitation on top scale network. You fit read everything in details, read about the gas fee. These limitations dey be the most common problem wey people dey get if as dem wan build, because web 2 and web 3 dem no be the same. But if you wan make web 3 project or web 3 gaming make dem dey work like web 2, the only place wey you fit build wey you no go get problem and wey you no go dey let your users dey pay too much for gas fee na on top scale network. Data restriction and scaling limitations, you fit read about dis one sef. So for here dey talk about how Ethereum dey use Ethereum as example as a target block size of 15 million with maximum block size of 30. The size fit dey increase and decrease based on network demand. You fit come read am by yourself make you check am out. They also talk about other layer two wey be like Polygon and Optimism also have like 30 million block gas limit, but for Scale network everything na zero and you no need to stress yourself. So you fit check all dis one out. Na Bitcoin wey be dis, Ethereum and Scale network. The transaction per second for Bitcoin na 4 to 7. The transaction per second for Ethereum na 12 to 15, and transaction per second for Scale na 397. No be for Scale o, per Scale chain na 397. The time wey dem take dey finalize transaction for Bitcoin network na 60 minutes, and for Ethereum na 78 seconds, wey be sey dis mean sey Ethereum sef dey fast, but for Scale na 1.46 seconds, which is very very low and very very good. Max block size for Bitcoin na 2 to 4 MB, and for Ethereum na 30. Block size na 30 million gas limit, and for Scale na 268,435,455 gas limit. You see sey dis looks good on Scale network. Thanks for lis ten ing. You can read more on the Scale blog, and you can see all other updates from Scale network. Thanks for lis ten ing. Bye.